Hi guys, I just wanted to do a quick video to talk about this July challenge that Klair Rhomany, Vicky B and Carie Harling have made, and it's a challenge in which you are supposed to use one book and one pen for the whole of July, so kind of as your journal. Not like a Dear Diary journal necessarily, but it can be just like a notebook and a whatever you think a journal should be. Because I think their point was that so many people get carried away with all of these stationery planner kind of thing that you spend so long accessorizing it, decorating it, thinking what should I be doing in it, what shouldn't I be doing in it, that it is so easy to just forget the point of it, which is to write. So their challenge is to use one book, a small book, so like a pocket size, an A6 size, for the whole of July. That is difficult for me because I have a lot of Filofaxes and Fauxdoris. I actually intended, before this was launched, I actually intended to spend this weekend working out what I should use all of my Filofaxes and Midoris and Fauxdoris for. So this idea, this challenge, is a bit difficult for me because I think I have 10 A5 Filofaxes and I really want to keep them all. I could sell a couple of them, but I really love them all. And I also have quite a few dories, whether it's authentic Midoris or Fauxdoris. So there's a couple of Ray dories, actually 3 Ray dories, a Monique Fauxdoris, a few ones I've made myself. So yeah, I don't want them to sit on the shelf unused, which is what most of them have been doing for months and months and months, and I don't want them to do that. So I was intending to work out what each of them should be used for, and then this challenge came along and I thought I don't want them to be empty, so I thought, right, I'm going to reinterpret the challenge myself. And Carie does say you shouldn't upset your system. You shouldn't just say, well, okay, I'll just abandon all of my notebooks or binders or anything related to specific subjects that I've already set up. You should carry on using them. So for example, if you've got work binders, if you've got study notebooks and that sort of thing, don't abandon them and only use one pocket notebook, because if you write a lot for your study notes or something, you will use that pocket notebook up in about a week and a half, and you will upset your system because you probably archive all of your notes in sections in order. You don't want to suddenly have a bound notebook with all of your everything in that is completely unorganized because it's not in sections like you're used to, and you can't just rip those pages out and put them in your binder, but then again you can't have a big gap in your binder where you've got 4 weeks of notes somewhere else. So use the notes that use the binders that you've already got, but I think more for the kind of random notebooky journaly things, use one book. So I took that and interpreted it to suit myself. I carried on working out what each of my Filofaxes should be for and each of my Midoris and Fauxdoris should be for, so that they won't be sitting on the shelf empty. And now I'm thinking what I should do for the one book July challenge, and I don't think I'll be able to do a 1 book challenge. I think it will have to be a 2 book challenge, which is difficult because it doesn't fit in with the formula of the challenge, but I don't think I can change it, and I'll explain why in a minute. Firstly, I'm going to tell you what I've decided the use is for my Filofaxes and Midoris will be, and then I will talk about the challenge. So I have a lot of Fauxdoris and Midoris and things, and I have collected Filofaxes for over 3 years. So that's why I've got so many. A lot of them, most of these I've got within the last year and a half, 2 years. I did buy a lot of personal size at first, and then I've sold nearly all of them. So this is only the A5s. I have a few personal size ones left. I have one pocket, but these are all the A5s. I have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, and then 2 domino A5s, which I'm not counting. And then I also have 2, 4, 6, 9 Fauxdoris. So I'll tell you what each of the Filofaxes will be for, because I've worked out those, and then I'll tell you what the Fauxdoris and Midoris will be for, because I haven't finalised those. So the one Filofax that I've always got set up, which has never ever changed purpose, is my A5 ochre Molden, which I bought specifically for my Egypt research notes, because that is my major life project, is to do my research in my specific field in Egyptology. I started off with one research area, and I've developed that into a wider subject and then specified more specifically. So basically I started off studying one period of Egyptian history and one king. That expanded in my MA dissertation into 4 kings. Well, I'm using the word king metaphorically. Then I realised I don't like that period of history specifically. I like the study of kings. So I broadened that to be this research project about ancient Egyptian kings, and then narrowed that down to another specific project, which is what, if I ever get to do a PhD, that is what I'd want to do my PhD on. So that is what that is for. I have it set up with all the dividers, all the sections, and it is perfect and it will never change. I held it in my hands the other day, and the first thought I thought of is, this is the most perfect Filofax I have got. Just to hold it, to smell it, to look at it, it's just, oh, it's just, I love it. It's absolutely gorgeous, and it serves its purpose so well, and this is my absolute favourite, and if I had to save one in a fire, I would save that one. So that is absolutely perfect. I don't have to change it. Then I'm just looking through my list. I've got some Fauxdoris here. I'll skip them for a minute. Then I've got my purple A5 Molden. That has always been for my kind of crafty hobbies. These are hobbies that I call non-push hobbies. Push hobbies are ones I have to push myself to do. That if I have a spare hour, I should do, but I don't find myself doing very much. I have to actually push myself to do them. But these non-push hobbies are the ones that I don't have to push myself to do, that I will find myself doing anyway. So for example, watching YouTube videos about fountain pens or papercraft or something like that, or doing research online, or making wish lists, or doing sketches of what I'd like my my cross stitch to look like, or making notes on crochet techniques because I'd like to start learning that, and notes on you know, new papercraft techniques and that kind of thing. These are hobbies that I tend to find I do when I'm not supposed to be doing them. So for example, when I'm supposed to be doing something else. So that's what that binder is for. That's my non-push hobbies. That binder is a note keeper. That isn't something that I use very often. It's something that will sit on my shelf until I need it, and it holds the notes that I write. So for example, I might have to go back and look at my notes about different distress ink techniques, but I won't have to see it all the time. And then I might write some notes on just some scrap paper from a YouTube video and think, I've got to put this somewhere. I'll punch it and put it in my A5 purple Malden. So that is, it's a note keeper book. Each of these Filofaxes, not only have I said what the purpose is for, i.e. for different subjects, but I've said what the kind of role is. So that one is a note keeper. My yellow original A5 is for my Egyptian grammar, and the reason why I use yellow is I'm very colour orientated when it comes to subjects. So for example, in school, I don't know if you can hear the seagulls, they're very noisy. In school, every subject had a specific colour. So for example, this is all in my head, this is just like colour association. French was blue, geography was green, English was yellow, history was brown, that kind of thing. And I've always associated hieroglyphs, Middle Egyptian grammar, with yellow, and I think that was because in first year at uni, when I first started doing it, I had a yellow folder for it. So having the yellow original, that is the perfect binder to have my Egyptian grammar notes in. And these grammar notes are ones that I do have to keep looking back at, because if I don't do hieroglyphic grammar very frequently, it is easy to forget it. So those grammar notes live in there, and they will come out every time I have to look something up to translate some Egyptian hieroglyphs. So that is a resource binder. Then I've got my fuchsia original, and they will be for my novel notes, and that is an archive. So basically, I will do my notes on paper somewhere else, and I'll talk about that in a minute, but I will take the notes that I've finished with, that I don't need to keep looking at anymore, and I will archive them in that binder, in the A5 Fuchsia Patent Original. So that is an archive binder. Then I've got my Wine Holborn A5, and that I bought specifically for notes to do with museum studies. I've volunteered in my local museum on and off since 2009, so that is, the whole museums thing is very close to my heart, and I would like to do a museum studies MA in about a year and a half's time. So I will read, I've got a year's worth of museum association journals. I'll read them, I'll make notes, I'll do research online. I follow a lot of museum studies blogs, so those notes will go in there, and that's a notes keeper, because that's something I have to access more often than just a normal archive binder. It's ones that I have to keep looking through, adding to, and that kind of thing. Then I've got my De Villiers binder, which isn't a Filofax, it's a De Villiers brand, which Anita on the Filofaxy blog did a post about recently, but it's an old brand and they don't have them from sale much anymore. I think you might be lucky and find one on YouTube or something, eBay or something, but you cannot find much about them on the internet at all. And it's a gorgeous binder, and that one has a specific purpose which I won't be telling you about, but it will have a specific purpose, and this will be an archive binder, because when I've finished writing the notes for this specific purpose, I will archive them in there. Then I've got my Espresso Sienna A5, and this will be for my random research notes. I like looking random things up on Wikipedia and other websites. So for example, well, I did it in here, but it was almost, you know, I could almost tear it out and put it in that binder. When I was on the train to London, I saw just outside Salisbury, the Salisbury Plain, I saw one of the white horses on the hillside. I don't know if you can see, there's my rubbish sketch. And it's called the Westbury White Horse, also known as the Bratton White Horse. And so I did some research and I wrote my own notes on that, because it's the first white horse I've ever seen, and there's quite a few of them apparently, but it's the first one I've ever seen. So I just caught it out the corner of my eye on the train, and I loved seeing it because it's hundreds and hundreds of years old, and it's just got a fascinating history, and it's just fascinating to think about the people who made it originally. So that's the kind of random thing that I will research on the internet, I will write up, and then I'll want to archive it somewhere, and then occasionally I'll flick through it and read the random notes that I've written. So that will be an archive. And then I will have 3 binders, which I will do on a rotation. So there's my Aqua A5 Malden, my Raspberry A5 Chameleon, and my Brown A5 Kendall. And these are for my push hobbies. So opposed to my non-push hobbies, these will be for my push hobbies. I think I showed you this in a video before. Let me grab it. This is my Aqua Malden, obviously. So it is really 2 sections at the moment. It has my an Egypt section, so for anything Egypty, and then a novel section, so for my novel notes. So basically this one will be my workbook. This is one that I can carry around the house wherever I go if I want to do work on my subjects. So even though at the moment I've only got 2 sections, I can make as many sections as I want. So for all of the ones that I've talked to you about, all of the novel notes, the Egyptian grammar, the museum studies, the random research, that kind of thing, basically I will have lots and lots and lots of blank paper in here, not blank like no lines, but just unused paper in here of all different types. So I love using, see if I can find it, this paper, this beautiful patterned paper for my novel notes, and then I've got all sorts of other paper in here too, and basically if I want to write something about one of my novels in down, I can take this with me. If I want to write something about museum studies, I can take this with me. If I want to write something about just research something random on the internet, I can take it with me. Wherever I go around the house, it has got paper in it and it will have sections in it. That means I don't have to carry each and every one of my Filofaxes that I will need that day with me. So for example, if I were going downstairs to watch TV and I think I want to do a bit of research on museum studies and my novel, that means that I don't have to take my Wine Holborn and my Fuchsia Original with me, which will be heavy and they'll probably get put down on something yucky because people have tea rings on the furniture or something like that, or my dog will come up and put his wet nose on it or something. Basically I carry one with me, and this will be my workbook. This will be the one that I write everything in, that carries all the paper I need, and I can carry it around the house, and it will be quite lightweight. And when I've finished writing the notes in here, if I don't need to keep looking at them, for example just my random research on the internet, I can then archive it in the respective binder. Or if it's about, say, my novel and I do want to keep it for the next few weeks because it's something I'm working on, or it's something that I want to make sure I remember in my head, I can keep it in here for a few weeks and then archive it when I'm ready. So this will be my workbook. And then I can rotate it. So if I'm a bit bored of this binder, I can rotate it with either my Brown Kendall or my Raspberry Chameleon. So that's my workbook. Similarly, here is my A5 DIY Fauxdoris. Now this one is my everyday carry, which has my bullet journal in it, and this is the main part of this thing. It is my planner. Everything plannery goes in here. But then I've got these other 2 sections. This middle section I made a file folder and I put grid paper in it, squared paper. that I printed off the internet. I folded, I trimmed, I didn't bind it because I want to be able to take the pages out if necessary, so I can make random notes. So for example, I was making notes on the butterfly effect before my shift started at work, about the theory, not the film. So for example, if I am out, specifically out, when I don't have access to my workbook, when I'm at work or on the bus or something like that, if I need to write anything down that doesn't go in my bullet journal, I can use this section here. But it isn't just this kind of makeshift booklet here. This file folder, if you've seen it in my previous video, it has a section where I can easily slip paper in. So in this secretarial pocket here, I can slip the blank paper, and then in the section that has the opening, I can slip the paper that I've actually used and that I've actually written on. I will take all sorts of paper with me, A5 paper that I can then write on, and then when I've finished writing on it, or when I'm in the middle of writing on it, I will slip it in here. Then when I come home, I can take it out, read it and think, am I still working on it? Yes, I can put it in here. Or am I finished with it? I can then archive it. So this one is my everyday Carie. It will come around the house with me, but mainly for the purpose of me using my bullet journal. And then when I'm out, I can make any notes that I want to, either on the booklet paper or on individual sheets of A5 paper, which I can then archive. And when I'm at home, it will come with me, but I will also take my workbook. So that is why I kind of can't do just one book, the one book July thing. It will have to be a 2-book July thing. So I don't take my Filofaxes out of the house. If I only used a Filofax, I would use an A5 one. I'm not really that concerned about the weight. I would rather use a backpack and an A5 Filofax than have to just use a handbag and a smaller Filofax, because A5 is my size. But because I don't take my Filofaxes out of the house because I'm worried about them getting damaged, I won't be using this one as an everything book. I won't be using it as a planner and a notes book and an archive and a this and a that. So this has its specific purpose, but it stays at home. And then this one, this will go everywhere with me, and it works really well as a planner, and I'm going to be setting it up with the last insert as a journal type lists fun book, but the middle bit will be my basically slimmed down version of this. So I need something out of the house to write notes in. That is what this is for. But at the same time, when I'm at home, I don't think that I would be able to have everything I needed in here, because I'm not sure how many pages this section in the file folder could hold, and I could have 100 note pages that I need to access at a time. So because I have like 50 pages on my novel, and then there could be 20 pages on my Egypt research projects, and then 20 random note pages, and then I need spare paper as well, I don't think I could fit 100 pages in here. So that is why I'm going to have like 10 spare note pages in here, use this for when I'm out, and then transfer it to here and carry them both with me when I need them. I usually do this kind of stuff in my room, so I don't take it downstairs very often. But it also helps me just when I am in my room, that I don't have to keep on having 5 Filofaxes on my coffee table at the same time or something. So they will be working together. And also you may notice that they're a lot bigger than the challenge suggests you use. The challenge suggests like a pocket sized or A5 sized notebook, and I couldn't possibly use that. I'd use that up in about a week and a half because I write a lot. So that's my 2-book July challenge. Sorry I couldn't make it a 1-book one, but if you kind of think of it as a 1-book, then there you go, but it would be a very, very, very fat book. I like fat books though. I like them stuffed. So that is the way I have been able to make use of all of my Filofaxes. Oh, I forgot to tell you about my my Midoris and Fauxdoris. I'll tell you quickly because I know this is 25 minutes long. I am going to use my Plum Midori for fact books about one of my novels. So it's basically when I have developed a character profile and I'm happy with it, I will have a character profile book in each Midori for each novel. I'm planning on writing 2 novels simultaneously, different genres, different subjects. So we'll have a character notebook. I've forgotten the other 2 notebooks. Inserts inside. I will have 3 inserts inside each Dory. So the Plum Midori I think is going to be on. I don't want to tell you about my novel yet. Basically, let me just tell you its code name. Its code name is Paradox. Paradox, okay? So that will be for that. And then the Maru, my original first ever Midori, will be for the novel that I am writing that is code-named Winport. And the reason they have code names is because I haven't thought of a title for them yet. And then my Luxor Midori, of course, has to be an Egypt Dory. So that will have an Indiana Jones themed notebook, a Egyptian grammar / vocab book, which is one that I can take with me if I'm ever going to a museum and I want to do some translations of some of the monuments that they've got, like Fauxdoris and funerary stele and things. And I'm thinking of doing a fact book about Egyptian kings and that kind of thing. Yep. And then I've got my Midori, which is my second original Midori, and then my Fauxdoris, I'm thinking of that being my journal with a small j, like not a Dear Diary journal, like I don't know how to describe it anyway. And then I've got to find a use for my Tan Midori, which is able to accommodate up to 6 notebooks, and my purple DIY Dory, which I think is going to be my happy journal, which is something I thought about like last year, and I think a few other people have developed it and I never actually did it, but that's something I thought of last year. It's just happy things like lists that I like writing, like animals I want to hug and that kind of random. I love making lists, random lists, just fun things like colourful things, doodles and happy things. And then my A5 pink DIY Dory, which would accommodate a lot of inserts, but I don't know what I'd use that one for. And then since how I've pretty much made all of my needs for notebooks, I've accomplished all of them, I've found a home for all of them, I don't know what to use this one for now. This one I've been reading from. This is my random notebook. But the thing is, all of my random notes are then going to be in a specific binder. So I don't know. But what I might do is... I wish those seagulls would shut up. They're so noisy, especially when the sun's coming up about 4 o'clock in the morning. I might use these 2 together, so if I stuff this one inside the binder, then theoretically it's still one book, So therefore it's still a 2-book challenge. But then I can't use my quiver on the top. See, this is the trouble when you've got too many notebooks. Okay, this is now 30 minutes long, so I've got to go. So thank you very much for watching, and I will let you know how I get on at the end of July. So thank you for watching. Bye.